In the purport, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, if someone is drowning in an ocean, even if that person is the best swimmer, he cannot save himself. Because how much he will swim in an ocean? Do you understand? Like, if even if that person is an expert swimmer, still after a few days he is going to be drowned and die in the ocean, because no one can overcome ocean by his own accord. So that's why we have to understand this knowledge is giving us the highest perfection in terms of crossing over this ocean of birth and death. Because once we come in contact with material world, our consciousness is covered, because we get illusioned. Because of illusion, our sense of identity changes. The ego changes. First thing that changes is the ego. The true ego, the real ego that was there in the spiritual world, that I am the servant of servant of Krishna, that changes to I am God. I am controller. In the material world, that's why this ego, the real ego, becomes false ego in the material world. The false ego means that everyone here thinks that I am the enjoyer. Everyone should work for my enjoyment. Everyone should help me enjoy. And sometimes if someone is not acting the way that would please us, then we get really frustrated, because we think that everyone should please me. That's the basic identity in the material world. Everyone thinks that I am the enjoyer and everyone should serve me and please me. So because of this tendency, the living entity is suffering in the material world again and again, one body after another, birth after birth. We are always trying to enjoy our senses and false ego. Actual problem is with the false ego. And because the ego changes, the false ego makes us think that I am this body, because the body is giving me enjoyment. Through the medium of the body, I can enjoy different varieties of sense objects. So that's why, because of the false ego, the mind gets more and more polluted and the intelligence becomes weak. And because of the weak intelligence and strong mind, the living entity becomes engrossed in bodily concept of life. And that's why we see everyone is more and more selfish, and that tendency increases a lot, so much that the living entity travels right from the highest planet of the material world to the lowest planet of the material world. Sometimes the living entity is taking the body of a tree. Sometimes the living entity is taking the body of a dog, a cat, an aquatic, a bird. Sometimes it is given a human body. Sometimes he is in the body of a demigod. Sometimes he is in the hellish planet suffering. So this is the real problem, that there is always transmigration of the soul from different bodies. The most important aspect of Krishna's mercy is that Krishna gives the highest help to the devotee by picking him up from the ocean of birth and death. Because everyone is drowning in this ocean of birth and death. Punarpi jananam, punarpi maranam, punarpi janani jathare shayanam. Again and again, we are going from one womb of the mother to another womb of the mother. Always changing the bodies, and that is the real problem. So, Krishna will give the highest perfection, the highest benediction to the devotee in the form of breaking that cycle of birth and death, picking up the devotee from the ocean of birth and death. So there is a story that one time Lord Sri Ram, along with Mother Sita and Lakshman, they were exiled for 14 years. And Lord Sri Ram, Mother Sita and Lakshman, they were traveling in the jungle. And while traveling, they came on the bank of a river. So they wanted to cross that river. So when Lord Ram was still thinking that, oh, there is a devotee here. His name was Guha. So he went there and he spent some time with the devotee. So Guha, he saw Lord Ram, Lakshman and Sita, he got very happy. And then he brought some, because he was a fisherman and he was a boatman, so he brought a fish, put with, some honey. So he brought a fish for Lord Ram and he offered to Lord Ram. But Lord Ram said that, I cannot accept this, but I have accepted the love that you are offering this to me. So Lord Ram did not accept the offering, but he accepted the love that the devotee had. And then Lord Ram said that we want to cross this river. So could you please take all of us in your boat and drop us on the other side? So that time Guha said, he brought the boat, and then Lord Ram was about to take his step. That time Guha stopped him. And Guha said that, oh my Lord Ram, I have heard that in the province of Mithila, that you went there and there was a stone, and just by the touch of the lotus feet of yours, that stone turned into a woman. You know the story of Ahilya. She was cursed by Gautam Muni to become the stone, and then he said that later Lord Ram will come and he will deliver you. So he said that by the touch of your lotus feet, a stone turned into a woman. So I'm worried that if your lotus feet touch my boat, what if the boat turns into a girl? Then I will have a girl, I have to arrange for her marriage, and I don't have any money. So he was just playing with Lord Ram. So Lord Ram said, what do you want then? What is the solution? So he said, I have an idea. So he ran into his house and he brought some warm water. And then he said, I have an idea that let me wash your feet and remove all the dust from your lotus feet. So he started to bathe the lotus feet of Lord Sri Ram. And then he took that water, holy waters, he drank the water. He also went to the family, he gave them the water. And then he, smiled at the family and he winked at them and he said, see, today I have tricked Lord Ram. And then everyone was happy. So Lord Ram was taking pleasure being tricked by his friend and very great devotee, Guha. And then later, when Guha took all of them on the other side of the river, that time Lord Ram asked that how can I compensate you? What do you want in return of this wonderful service that you have done? So that time Guha said that I cannot take anything from you, because it is an etiquette that people from the same profession do not charge each other for the service. So Lord Ram said that how both of us are from the same profession. So he said that I am a boatman and I take people from one side of the river to the other side. And you are also a boatman. No one knows this, but I am telling you that you are the supreme boatman, because I only take a few people in my boat from one bank of the river to the other bank, but you are the supreme merciful boatman for your devotees, because you take them from the ocean of birth and death and you carry them to your spiritual abode. In that sense, you are the greatest, most merciful deliverer of your devotees. You take them to your own spiritual world. And then because of this, we both are boatmen. And that's why I cannot charge you for my service. So Lord Ram was very happy with his devotee, and he had a great smile on his lotus face.